Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about how to replace the license plate light housing on a Mercedes-Benz SLK R171. You might tell yourself, well, usually I just need to replace the light bulb. But as these particular cars age, the actual plastic starts to fade, starts to brown, sometimes it'll start cracking, and eventually you're going to have to replace the unit. So a lot of people use LED replacement, so this will replace the whole unit. And in this video today, I'm going to show you how to do that. It's not too terribly difficult. It'll probably take you about 20 to 30 minutes. So there's not much that you need in the way of tools for this project. Obviously, I've got my two replacement LED lights. Now I've got a trim tool, and you could use a flathead screwdriver, but this will, mar the plastic a little bit less, and you'll see as we get into the video. Now we do need to use masking tape. Well, I don't say you have to, but you should use masking tape because there's a trim piece that we're going to pull out that could potentially scratch the paint. So if you have it masked off, less damage. And you need an 8mm socket. So our first step is going to be to fully open the trunk. And under here you'll see a plastic cover here. And there's going to be 5 rivets around here that we need to take off. In order to do that, we simply use our trim tool, get in there just right, and pry it open. So you'll have 5 screw-like things. And then you'll have this base item here, which will need to come out. So next, we gently pry this out. There'll be a couple pop things there. You will see a wire for the switch here, for the trunk release switch. Just simply pulls out, and now you can fully remove this plastic trim. I'm just going to leave it in the trunk. So now we can safely disconnect the power harness for the lights, and I know it's kind of hard to see in the video, but it's right here, and it simply pulls out. And repeat this for the other side. Our next step is to remove this black trim piece. There are 2 nuts on the inside that hold this in place, but before I do that, I'm going to put some masking tape here and here, just in case when we pull this piece down, it comes in contact with the paint, we're not going to scratch it. So this next part's kind of tricky. So you see this nut back here, and it's actually, I know this looks like it's upside down, but as we go underneath the trunk lid here, you'll see it. When you unscrew it, there's really no way to actually put your head back there, at least I can't. So the best thing to do is put your 8mm socket on there. You'll see this piece of foam over here, and you just kind of feel for the nut. Alright, so now we have our 2 8mm nuts removed, and now we can work on removing this particular trim piece. Now this trim piece will pop out, and the best way I have found to do this is to get your trim removal piece, push on the nut post that's still in there, and gently pry it out. Alright, and once you get things loose, just gently pull it away. You'll notice this tar or gooey like substance on there. You can safely pull this away because when you put it back, it's going to reattach. So this is out. Now you can put this in a safe place. So the next step in the process is to simply push the old light housing out. And what I find best for this is to use 2 hands. So you have 1 hand or 1 thumb on there and use your other hand to push it out. And it may take a little bit of force. Alright, so both of our old light assemblies are out. So as I said before, these aren't in too bad a shape, but they're starting to show their age. So our next step is to pull the wiring for the lights out through the top part here. So I'm going to pull the wiring and put it right here. That way we can attach the new light. Alright, so I've pulled the wiring harness out, and now I'm going to plug in the new light. So it's keyed, so you really can't plug it in backwards. Snap it into place, And we'll do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now I've got the wiring harness attached to both lights, and before I put them in, I'm going to make sure they actually work. So I'll put the parking lights on the car. All right, as you can see, the lights do power up, so we're good there. So now we can go ahead and insert the lights back in. And you want to note that there is a tab right here at the bottom. You might not be able to see that on the camera, but you also have a tab on the light, which is going to be right here. And make sure those do line up. And after that, we simply push it in. All right, so now we are ready to reattach the trim piece. So I've got it here in the trunk. Obviously just line up all the rivets and the bolt holes just right. And just pop everything back into place. And now you can remove your tape. Next, we'll need to go ahead and reattach the two bolts that go on the posts right here. And then use a socket to tighten them down. All right, so now we're ready to put in our plastic piece that goes on the back of the trunk here. First, don't forget to plug in your trunk release switch wiring. It simply goes into place right there. And next, just kind of fit the plastic in there. You want to get it so it's fairly pops into place there, so you can see the little rivet holes, which you probably can't see too well in the video. But eventually it will get in there, you just have to work it. So now we need to insert our little plastic rivets. You simply put the base in first, followed by the little rivet piece, and push it right in. And repeat that for the remaining 4 rivets. And that's it. Once we put the plastic trim back on, everything's back together, and we have new LED lights for our license plate. Thanks for watching.